Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Bellingham City Council's afternoon work sessions. The first committee to meet this afternoon is our Public Works Committee. It's chaired by Councilmember Terry Borneman.
Thank you, Michael. Joining me on the committee is Gene Knutson and Roxanne Murphy. We have one item before the committee today, and that's something near and dear to Gene Knutson's heart, railroads. The extension of lease terms for the Bellingham Railroad Museum.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Ted Carlson, Public Works, along with Patty Fernandez. This is an issue that I believe Council is fairly familiar with. It is regarding leasing space at the Commercial Street parking garage. Anytime the city rents space below market value or a market rate, it requires Council to take action and recognize the public value that's being provided by the tenant. This particular tenant, the Bellingham Railway Museum, has been in this space for 14 years. So their lease will expire at the end of January next year, so end of January 2018. And they have requested to extend their lease for another 3 years at the same rate. And in your packet is, along with the agenda bill, is a statement of the public value provided by the Railway Museum, along with some letters from folks that have visited the museum highlighting the benefit to the community. So staff's here seeking direction on whether or not we should pursue extending the lease for an additional 3 years at the current rate, which is $560 per month. And you can see in the financial impact or the fiscal impact in the agenda bill, we've outlined what we believe the market rate would be. And that's obtained by our current leases and also talking to our property manager, Saratoga. And so we identified what the potential loss is, assuming that it was leased at market rate for Council's consideration. And with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions. Again, we're looking for direction today.
Okay, any questions? Gene?
I'm going to go ahead and move approval, and I want to say that because for the last 14 years, they've become an integral part of that area downtown, and they've been great to have. So I think it's great that we're able to do this.
Roxanne?
I'm proud to support this too because I love that our downtown can be known for art, cultural, and history amenities. And this is a good thing that we can create a break for, not so that the railway will break, but so that the railway history can be known and go forward.
Yeah. I support the Railroad Museum, but I got to ask the question that I've asked before, and that's about the demand for space in that area, because we do this when there's not, because there hadn't been a demand and stuff, so we've been able to do that. And so I have to ask that because it's, and so how's?
Sure, I can speak to our current space, and maybe Patty can provide some insight as well. We're happy to say that we're fully leased within the city's commercial space, so the parking garage is leased. I would just mention that, as you know, Gary's left the corner spot there, but we have a tenant that's currently doing tenant improvements, and we hope that, I know she hopes that she'll be open before the holidays.
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, so that's exciting.
Great.
And as part of that, that was a very large space, so we did make some modifications to reduce Gary's space a bit, the former Gary's space a bit. And it's nice that the adjacent business, Social Fabric, they took over that additional space. So she's doing very well. So in terms of our space, we're fully leased, which has not always been the case in the past. So that's good. Maybe Patty can add some insight. That's about what I know on commercial leasing.
Patty Fernandez, Public Works. So in terms of where the Railway Museum is, it's not like there has been a lot of other interest in that space at all.
Okay.
So it's not like there's someone who is looking for that particular space that we're not allowing.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I needed to know. If there was, then we would have to consider that. Okay. Michael?
Yeah, thanks for letting me ask a question. I'm not on this committee. I support the Railway Museum. I support the reduced rate for them. But I'm also wondering if there was any discussion about putting in just kind of a cost of living inflationary increase, keep it below market value, but it's sort of like it's getting more and more below market value. Is there just some way to kind of like keep it at the same level, percentage-wise, below market value? Do you know what I'm saying?
This year, it's about the same as it was 3 years ago in terms of what the market rate would be and then also what our expenses are. So what they are paying actually pays for whatever expense we have to lease it to them. So it's about even. Still, in the past, we have tried to get a little bit of increase in. Council hasn't ever gone for that, so we aren't recommending it this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes, Pinky.
Thanks, Terry. Quick question. I'm wondering if we can support the Railway Museum on finding ways to maybe increase their entry cost or do more marketing or promotion so that they're get more money in, and then maybe we could increase the cost so things would be a little bit level so they would be able to take care of themselves a little bit more. I totally support the museum, but maybe there's something that we could do in this approval, asking them to work with tourism or the downtown partnership and see if there's ways that we can make the museum more known as an attraction, and they could possibly look at their entrance fees.
That's a good question. I'm not familiar enough with what they currently do to make any recommendations to them, but we certainly could, at council's direction, pursue clauses in the lease that would say their lease would go up, and that would be an incentive for them to do whatever they're not doing. And again, I don't know to what degree they've worked with tourism or the downtown association to this point.
They're right next door.
Yeah, they are located adjacent, so I'm assuming there's some cooperation, but I don't know to what detail. But that would be, if that's council's direction, we'd be happy to look at somewhat along the lines of Council President Lilliquist's recommendation as well, should we pursue annual increase of some kind.
Okay, council, we have a motion before us. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Before you leave, Ted, I got a question. Out front, how long, that's been a long time, and so I'm kind of curious how long it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't have a finished date, but they're getting very close, and we've certainly let them know that there are events scheduled in the next couple weeks, so I anticipate they'll be done prior to that. They're still
Okay.
within their working days, which we gave them, which is typical for a project of that size. So there's been some days that were weather restricted, but I think that they'll be wrapped up shortly.
Okay. Okay, just curious, Liz.
I understand.
And the committee.